everybody. Welcome back to the Damn Yankees podcast, produced by Seven Ashes Productions. One day I'll say that smoothly. It is Thursday, June 8th. I am Megan. That's my brother Ryan. And over there's our baseball dummy, Cliff.
Hi.
Hello. We are not here to talk about the Yankees today specifically.
Yes.
I don't even think I want to talk about the Yankees specifically.
Yeah. Let's ignore how they're playing against the White Sox, and we'll see what they do in the second part of their doubleheader. But they suck right now. Yay! Okay, so
we're filming kind of in between the games, so
we're really mad about the first game. Yeah. More to come after the next series, after the Boston series. So we might be really mad about two Sox series next time you see us. We'll see. All right, so we're gonna get into Ryan's power projections. Oh, this isn't good. I can't power. Yeah, not
Those
good.
things.
I'm not doing. Can't speak. I don't know the right words.
Yep.
Okay. So
it's this thing right here.
Ryan's MLB Power Rankings.
That thing.
All right, so I'm going to change it up a little bit. I'm going to actually start with the bottom five. And my only reasoning for this is I think that there's a lot to talk about within the higher part of the rankings, the top 10. And we all know kind of what the bottom five are.
They don't really change too much, especially at this point.
And I think last week, too, we had talked about how rankings didn't change much, and that we said that, with the various matchups that we were seeing throughout the last week, we kind of were expecting that there could be a lot of shakeup. Well, there was definitely a lot of shakeup. Only 5 teams in my rankings this week did not change, and there were multiple teams that were changing, that are moving up or down 3 or more spots. So definitely a lot of positions being moved, but the area where we didn't see a lot of movement is the bottom 5. So I just kind of want to get that out of the way, and then we'll get to talking about the rest, because there's definitely a lot that we could be talking about with the around the league and the top of the power rankings. So in 26, they moved down 1 spot, so they are now newly into the top, or to the bottom 5, is the Chicago Cubs. They're 26 and 35. I do think this is a team that's going to be a selling team. They did just get Dansby Swanson, obviously, in the free agency. They bring in Bellinger. They bring in some guys, but I mean, the team is just not.
Yeah, they definitely tried to put something together, but it never happened.
So I expect that if the Cubs continue on this route, which, I mean, I don't really see them getting out of it. They don't have a lot in the way of pitching. They have like one good pitcher. I forget his name, but he was. Stroman's been doing really good. So I guess they have 2 good pitchers. They have a young guy who was like in that conversation for NL Cy Young in the beginning, first quarter.
Gotcha.
But I'm just blanking on his name. But yeah, Stroman's been doing really good. I think that's like the bright spot for the Cubs, is how Stroman's been doing. And us Yankee fans,
been
Stroman
unfortunate.
are typically not,
true.
We're not typically to give him compliments.
We're not buddies. Yeah.
I think Stroman has probably the record for most blocked Yankee fans on Twitter.
Probably. Yankee fans are loud and he's a little bit soft. So
he might block us by the end of this. But we are trying to say that Stroman has done really well in past performances. Moving up a spot is the Colorado Rockies. They're 27th. They're 26 and 37. Again, this is just a team that's they're not very competitive. They're going to be sellers, I imagine. I just don't know really what they would sell. Not that they don't have good pieces, just they have both young and old guys who are washed. Like they got Chris Bryant, who signed that mega deal and's done nothing. And then they have guys like Brendan Rodgers, second baseman over there, who is a younger guy. But I don't have the stats on me, but I don't see them necessarily selling him, and I don't think he's been absolutely stellar to a point that he's not like a Trevor Story,
Right. Okay.
When Trevor Story was there, he was obviously, really well sought after. So anyway, the Rockies are just a bottom team. Just don't have a lot going for them. Washington Nationals, they're another team that could be a seller, but again, they just don't have a lot in the way of like, what would you get other than they have a lot of young players. They lose Steven Strasburg probably for his career. I don't know if we talked about that last week or not, but
no, maybe not. But yeah, that was
big for them because Strasburg had a huge 2019 season, the year where the Nationals went on to win the World Series. He signs a mega deal there as well, and I think he's only pitched like 30 games total, maybe, since 2019, maybe less. I heard he's pitched under 10% of what he could pitch on his contract. So anyway, Nationals, they don't really got a lot going for them either. Yeah, bad group. They dropped 2 spots to number 28. And in the last 2 positions, those 2 teams have been my bottom 2 teams, I think, for the last – I don't think there's been any change in the bottom 2 teams since week 2. So these 2 teams have been the same bottom 2 teams since week 2. The Kansas City Royals, they are 18-44. And surprisingly, I don't know what they did today, but surprisingly on another win streak is the Oakland Athletics. They won 2 games in a row.
I was just going to say they won. They beat.
Is 2 a streak?
Well, I mean, for the A's,
for the A's, that's the most that they've done.
Yeah, I mean, not just the Braves.
That's barely a line.
Well, you got to give the A's what.
Yeah, I don't think they've won any more than 2 games in a row this season. And what they typically do is they win 2 games and then they lose 6 to 8 games straight after that. So expect a really long losing streak for the A's.
I'm trying to look up now.
Those are the bottom 5 teams. I mean, there's not.
Sorry, I was trying to look up now. They beat the Pirates. That's right. They won a series against the Pirates. So they won a series against the Braves and the Pirates very recently. So I don't know. So yeah,
and in between those 2 wins,
streak of losing.
I was going to say, in between those 2, they lost 6 straight.
Yeah.
Between their Braves series win and their Pirates series win, they got swept twice, I believe.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Still bad. Anyway, they're still, those 2 teams are still the worst teams in the league. The Oakland Athletics, you would imagine they're sellers, but they don't really have anything. Expect Roman
left to sell.
Laureano probably to be sold. Outside of that, they don't really have anything. Kansas City, they do have some pieces. Vinny Pasquantino, who's been pretty good. I do expect Salvador Perez to possibly be a trade piece. Even something that I don't think the Yankees would do it. I have not seen many people talk about it, but the Yankees are always, they need a catcher who can hit, and Perez is probably the best hitting catcher. He's not a great defensive catcher, but he is a really good hitting catcher. But even if it's not the Yankees, I do expect that to be a name that we hear as a possible trade. You know, they're going to want to, if the Royals are smart, they're going to want to get rid of somebody that has talent that they can get some pieces back for. Perez has been a really solid hitter. Even if he becomes a DH where he can't catch anymore, he can still hit.
Yeah.
So, that's really about it. I mean, really the only reason why we're getting close to that trade deadline. So it's just, as we see these teams stay on the bottom, expect those type of teams to be sellers. And maybe we can now swap over to the top 10. These are going to be teams that are more on the side of buyers over the next month. So, we're going to get to the top 10. One of the hottest teams in the league right now has now moved into my top 10. They jumped 6 spots. It's the highest I've had them all season, is the Miami Marlins. They are 35-28. I'm pretty sure in the last few games, I don't have it up. Do you have it up, what they are in the last 10 games?
I just did, and then an ad popped up in my way. Sorry. Go. I'll get it in just a second. Sorry.
Okay. Well, I mean, whatever it is, they're a hot team. Luis Arráez has been absolute stud over there. I'm not sure what his live batting average is currently, but he has in a recent game he got up to 399, and I think he got a couple more hits. So he got over 400.
I thought I saw 403 at one point. It might have gone down from that. But
and just so people know, batting averages have been going down over last few years. Average batting average across the league has been going down. This year it's a little bit more up with the new rule changes, but overall, batting average has kind of gone down. Just to be around 300, meaning you get a hit 30% of the time, is really good. It used to be pretty good, and then if you're in the 350s, you're really good. You're top. You're probably the best in the league.
Yeah.
Now, I think Luis Arráez was the batting title leader last year, and he batted 314 back when he was with the Twins.
I thought it was higher than that, but I mean, it's much higher now, regardless. Yeah, was it? Yeah. Okay. It
was a teen.
Yeah, I don't remember. Okay,
but
yeah, I
mean that was the leader.
Over 400 is just unheard of. Yeah, and I mean, it's still the season hasn't.
So I was going to say, I remember when Altuve hit 350 in 2017, the cheating year for the Astros. But I mean, that was so Judge had a spectacular 2017. Us Yankee fans are still probably a little bitter that he didn't win the MVP that year. But part of the reason Altuve won outside of the cheating is that 357 is an absolutely unheard of number now. That was well beyond what a typical hitter was doing, even the good hitters. I think the last 400 hitter was Ted Williams back in 1943, 1941.
Yeah, I think that's right.
Something like that. Maybe not 1941 because I think baseball was suspended in 41 and 42 for World War II, but I believe 43 is the year that Ted Williams hit 400. It was the last time any hitter has done that. I think the next closest was Tony Gwynn. I think he had a 399 average in the 80s.
Yeah, I think that's right.
And Luis Arráez,
the list I just found is not good. Sorry, I was trying to look for the list, and it's includes. It says MLB players, but yeah, I don't understand how they're. Anyway, yeah, Ted Williams at the very least is the last and most recent.
1943 is that number correct?
41 it says here, but
1941. Okay,
I'm trusting this list a little less, but yeah, it's what it says anyway.
It might be right. I know that we went. The game was suspended. Baseball was suspended for World War II. I just couldn't remember which of the years. I knew it was an odd year and it was early 1940s. But anyway, it's been over 80 years since anybody has 60 years.
I mean, I think they were saying Paul O'Neill came close 1 year, but like everyone else, at the end of the year, it averages out to not over 400.
And 350, 360 is still really good.
It is. That's great. Yeah, that's why 400 is just so hard to reach.
Now, of course, I do believe that we're only 60, a little bit more than 70 games into the season, I think now. A little over 60 games into the season.
Something like that, yeah.
It's kind of weird to think that 2020, the season's over. The regular season's over right now. It just doesn't seem like 2020 was so long in general, but it just didn't seem like the season, the regular season seemed longer than where we're at now. But anyway, I don't think Luis Arráez stays above 400. It's so hard to continue to hit really well. He's never been a guy who's hit over 320 in his career. Not to say that he's still a really young guy. I think he's 26 years old. So he's still kind of coming into his prime. Not to say that he can't. I do think he could potentially beat what Altuve did. But he is a very similar hitter to a Tony Gwynn. A lot of people are trying to debate whether he's actually a good hitter or is he just lucky. He doesn't have a lot of power. He does not hit.
I saw that.
Doesn't barrel up. When people are looking for savant pages that they love, you're looking at the Judge type ones where Judge is barreling up at 99%, meaning that he's hitting the sweet part of the bat 99% of the time when he makes contact. His hard hit percentage, not 99% of the time, means he's better than 99% of the league at barreling up. Sorry, I was saying that wrong. That'd be insane if he hit the barrel 99% of the time. But anyway, those are the type of people that you would. Anyway. But those are the type of people that people like on Savant for. He's not barreling up a ton. He's not getting a ton of hard hits. His max velo is very low. His average max velo is low. Exit velo is low. But I think the guy has only swung and missed at 13 pitches this season.
That's insane.
I know we're talking a lot about Luis Arráez, but I mean, it is
we've been stuck on the Marlins for quite a while. But it is. I mean, hitting over 400 at any point in the season is at this point in the season, I should say, for any amount of time is a great feat.
Yeah, if this was 2020, we would have had our first over 400 hitter.
True. So even that year you couldn't get an over 400 hitter, and so
and I think it was DJ who was the leader.
Deserves
that
all
year,
the
right?
accolades. Yeah, I mean he was
like 340,
340s. Yeah, something like that. I think that was right. That was the year that got everybody thinking that he was amazing, but we don't need to go down that road. Not today. But so who is your number 9?
Yeah, so moving on, Los Angeles Dodgers have actually dropped 5 spots to number 9. They lose the series to the Yankees, and then they are dealing with I guess what's going around is the Aaron Judge curse. Which the Dodgers might have put an end to the curse, not for themselves, but maybe for the White Sox. Because their stupid wall has ruined our star player for the next couple weeks. But
talk about that in a minute.
The Dodgers, like I said, they in this past week since we last did the series, the rankings, they lost the series to the Yankees and a series to the Reds. Now the Reds are a red hot team now. They call up Ellie De La Cruz, the number 1 prospect in all of baseball.
That huge home run that he hit.
Showing why. Yeah, did you see that it was like 130 something feet in the air? No, more than that.
Oh no, I didn't see the height.
In the air.
Jeez,
and it got picked up.
I saw it was a monster home run, but
it got picked up by the Cincinnati airport, like in the air travel. Like
really. Damn.
In their airspace. So, I mean, this kid is electric. He's got a ton of power. Apparently, he hits the ball harder than Judge or Stanton. He hit 120-something, or maybe it was between 118 and 120 exit velo home run in AAA. He's hit 2 of those in the 118 range. That's harder than any.
Well, I'm glad they decided to call him up after the Yankees faced him. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, this was definitely a case of the Reds wanting to have longer control. So we don't need to get too much into that because that can be a whole podcast in its own of why teams call up certain prospects when. But basically, waiting as long as they did to call this guy up, they basically get another year of control over him before he could become a free agent. When you're a team like the Reds, where this guy probably wants to be off the Reds as soon as possible, it's probably a good thing for them as a team to try to keep him around for another year. Kind of similar like what Brian Reynolds is dealing with the Pirates. But anyway, he hits a monster home run. I think he's had a couple of other hits so far. And I think Will Benson, another rookie there, hit a walk-off home run, a monster grand slam. And he had a really fun celebration too.
Yeah. I think that was his first home run, right?
I believe so.
Yeah. So
if
first home run's a walk off to
he did. Yeah. or he hit
walk
another
off
home
to
run
beat the
before that.
Dodgers.
I don't remember for sure, but yeah, if it's not his first home run, and he definitely hit his first home run in that series. I just don't remember if it was 2 separate home runs. But regardless, huge series for their rookies, Benson and Ellie De La Cruz. I mean, I definitely think Ellie De La Cruz is going to be a star in this league. He stole his first base today as well. He's very similar to an O'Neal Cruz, which I feel like we needed another O'Neal Cruz since he got his leg
injured
earlier this season. But very similar, but apparently better. Like he hits the ball a little bit harder, throws the ball a little bit faster, runs a little bit faster than.
Which is crazy. I mean, he ran. I saw a stat. He ran home to third because he got a triple. Home to third and like the fastest anyone's done it since 2020 or something.
It's wild.
Something like that.
So some pretty huge stars coming in.
Yeah,
and
so
fast,
they've been key in knocking LA down to number 9. They took over we just told you they were number 9, and that was
this whole thing about the Cincinnati was basically just to say that LA is down to number 9. I mean, I'm sure they'll bounce back. It's the LA Dodgers; they'll figure it out. The reason I brought up the Aaron Judge curse is because every team since Judge returned from his first IL stint this season against Toronto, every team that the Yankees have faced, the following series or two, they spiral.
Yeah.
They lose 1 or 2 series following them playing Aaron Judge. So
MVP stuff, even
so the White Sox can the White Sox can thank the Dodgers right field wall for ending the curse for them. But Dodgers fall down to number 9. Moving up a spot is the Milwaukee Brewers. They recently had a 10-3 win over the Orioles. The Orioles did not want to post the score for a while. They even made it good on them for being, speaking about the Orioles, they are number 18. They dropped 4 spots. So that's our 8-17 Milwaukee Brewers, 8-7 Baltimore Orioles. They lost the series to Baltimore. They've been skidding for a little bit. They're 4-6 in their last 10 games. So, they've got to kind of figure things back out. I think ESPN has always been expecting the Orioles to fall back to reality. I mean, it's possible. I mean, they've definitely been playing over what everybody's projected them, but they're still a young, exciting team with a lot of rookies. We'll see if they figure it out. I think the biggest
Aaron
thing
Hicks
is that
helping them still.
Yeah. It's not a coincidence that they start on a losing skid once Hicks gets there. Though he has his initial
he's done pretty
was
well.
Not bad. But
I
do think that I guess maybe he's Cedric Mullins though is
there's no comparing Aaron Hicks to Cedric Mullins. I mean,
I mean, he's a leader within their clubhouse. Not to say that he's not still in there. Not to say that
him from
losing Mullins is like losing Judge, but in similar fashion.
To the Orioles, it might be. I mean,
it's a similar fashion for the Orioles, especially a young team. They need a veteran guy like Mullins who has the consistency he does. So anyway, it's no question that the Baltimore Orioles' descent over the last week coincides with Mullins being out. Knock on wood. Hopefully it doesn't happen, but I'm sure the Yankees went on a skid the last time Aaron Judge was out of the lineup. Hopefully this time with Stanton in, things are a little bit different. But before we get to the Yankees, Arizona has moved up to number 6. They've been really hot lately. After today, they probably are number 5. I don't know if they played today, or if they won. Yeah, so they would move up to 5 if I had done this now. But they've been playing really good. I think they are now leading their division. They're now leading the NL West. So Arizona stays hot. Zach Gallen has been incredible for them. Carroll Corbin is well on his way to win an NL Rookie of the Year. So Arizona's doing really good. Again, the Yankees are now number 5. They've stayed at number 5. They probably dropped to number 6 at least after today. But this morning I had them at number 5. And the way I looked at it is they just won a series against the Dodgers and then lose one game because we didn't play yesterday to the White Sox. But beating the Dodgers was enough to keep them where they were at. I mean, the Dodgers are a very good team despite them losing to the Reds. So I don't think it's time yet to hit the panic button. Obviously, we'll see what happens in the second game in today.
Yeah.
But the Yankees for now stay at number 5. What?
Yeah, I mean, a big blow is losing Aaron Judge for, they don't know how long. I think this is when we're just going to mention it real quick. But yeah,
timetable is not
didn't
there.
Didn't
Boone
break his toe,
pissy.
but it really, Boone got pissy because people were asking questions about the timetable when they haven't
questions about the Yankees star player.
Yeah, and they haven't actually addressed the timetable before today, so people were wondering because he got So Aaron Judge, hit his toe into the wall. It really hurts. He didn't play, and then that was against the Dodgers series, and then he got an injection of like platelets because he has like a sprained ligament and a contusion, which is just fancy for bruising. But he got these platelets injected into his foot. So, and that really hurts actually. Like it's supposed to speed up healing because platelets will promote healing. But that injection actually hurts. And I think they said he got 2 injections into his foot. So he said he was sore and like he wanted to figure there's a couple of things quote unquote going on in there, and there's some swelling. So I'm sure the swelling came from the injection today, and then they just want to see it go down and then
assess from there
what it looks like. So, Judge addresses the timetable question very, very like a normal human and is like, hey, there's some things going on. We don't actually know what the timetable is. We'll figure it out. We just don't want to tell you.
Yeah.
Right. We're not going to really know. And so, we didn't want to tell you 2 weeks and then go, oh, JK, another 2 weeks. Like they do sometimes. So, but then Boone just got mad about it. Like, I guess he might have been asked before Judge was asked. I don't know. But he was like,
he snapped.
You don't have to get mad. He got like snippy. Yeah. Mad might be too harsh, but he got snippy that they were asking about it. So it was like, chill. But anyway, the Yankees without Judge are in trouble. So we'll see how they do.
Hopefully Stanton can not try to the biggest thing is I think too many of the veteran players try to act like Judge. Like some of the young guys still hit. I mean, even today's game, the new kid Billy McKinney had a triple. I think he had another hit. Oswaldo had an RBI. Willie had an RBI hit and then a 2-run homer. So like some of the younger guys are still playing as themselves, but like anytime they're out, like Rizzo, Stanton, though Stanton was injured during the last IL stint, but DJ LeMahieu, these guys just try to.
They all went like 0 for 15 today. Yeah, and they all went 0 for 15 today, and like Rizzo's on us in a slump. DJ's in the big slump, and obviously we can go more into this on a Yankee specific pod. But so while they have played well recently, the last few days have really turned kind of sour for the Yankees. So hoping for some better vibes.
The last time, that the Yankees were starting to look up. Then Judge Judge got injured, and then it was a pretty quick fall. I mean, just even looking at because I have the history of what we had. We got up to number 4, and then he gets hurt. We fall to 7, 14, 13, and then back up, and now we're in that.
I mean, without Judge, that's why he's an MVP, right? Like he is. The lineup is made to be around Judge, and he absolutely alters the team.
Affects everything. So moving on from that, just because we'll talk more about the Yankees on Monday. But the Braves have moved back up. They bounced back. They took a series loss to the Oakland Athletics. That's why they dropped so much the week before. But they found their stride again. They played the Mets. um, uh, corny Alonso in yesterday's game, or was it the day before, where
I think it was yesterday.
I'm pretty sure it was yesterday. Was it today that he got hit, or was it yesterday that he got hit in the same game?
I think it was yesterday that he got hit yesterday. I know that.
Okay.
Or it definitely didn't get hit today because he flew back to New York today to get an MRI. So I think he got hit yesterday, Wednesday. Yeah.
Yeah, timeline is a little fuzzy in my head with everything going on this week, but
he got hit in the wrist, which is, obviously what sat Judge out a few years ago, and it
sends other players obviously. Out. I think that Altuve got sent out this year from the World Baseball Classic for a similar.
Never want to get hit in the hand, with a
and
90 plus whatever.
My initial thing with Alonso has nothing to do with the injury. It sucks seeing a guy who is leading the NL in home runs, or at least was, get hurt. But before that, the corny idiot who has been doing some weird, corny stuff all season, I think hits his second home run of the game. So obviously you're a bit excited, but the game's not over yet, and you get into the dugout and you're like, throw it again, please throw it again. And then immediately after, the Braves go on to hit 6 unanswered or 5 unanswered runs. I think it was 5 unanswered runs. The Mets were up 4-1, so they won 6-4. I think Tyler is McNeil, whoever his first name is, McNeil in left field, bobbled the ball 3 times at one point. And one of the Braves
I saw
hits.
that. Yeah,
pretty poor defense there. I say all this because while the Braves have moved up 3 spots, the Mets, who were I think 11 last week, are my biggest droppers. I meant to mention earlier that the Miami Marlins were the biggest risers. So the opposite of that, the Mets, who were number 11 last week, seemingly to find some ground back, have now fallen all the way to 18. I think this is the lowest I've had them all season. Just big drop for them. They've been taking a lot of losses. They have not been themselves really at all. Well, I should say they are the Mets.
Traditional Mets.
They're playing the traditional Mets. They're Metsing it up. Yeah, exactly. So the Braves do move back up because they've been hitting well. They've been back to
and one more thing about his. Sorry, I was say one more thing about the throw it again. The RotoWare. I mean, so you say something in the middle of the game and you end up losing the game. You're about to get. I don't know. We should come up with a word like posterized, like in basketball. But RotoWare made a shirt out of it. So the Braves have a Braves colors, Braves font, whatever. It says "throw it again." So bulletin board stuff. You don't do that in the middle of the game. Baseball gods will put you in your place.
And. I know we talk a lot about like the baseball gods and like all these different things when it comes to the how just weird things work with baseball when you say stupid things or do things. We're going to get into more of that.
Humbling you
in the future, but it just in general in sports, like unless you are confident in yourself. Like, I mean, MJ used to talk trash throughout an entire game when he played basketball. But, he definitely backed it up when, it was time to back it up. So when it comes to the Mets in that situation, or anybody who is there who is who's talking in the middle of a game, when the game's not over yet and then the other team comes back, you're going to get a little bit it's just going to be a funny moment, especially with social media the way it is, especially with the ability TikTok. I've seen it on TikTok multiple times with fun video edits of the Braves just smacking the balls right after he says throw it again. And then I think who was the pitcher who who was in the dugout and yelled over to them, "Throw it again."
Oh, I don't remember, but yeah, I mean, if you're gonna do that in the middle of the game, you better make sure you back it up. Or I mean, but I did actually hear him mention, right?
I was going to say, if you're like Josh Donaldson, though, he's been doing good recently. What was the game against the Rays? He struck out against 3 fastballs,
and
he's in the dugout, and he's like, "Throw me a fastball next time. Throw me a fastball." And the
right, he's like chirping. You're like, "Oh my God, stop!" Yeah.
I would say that Josh Donaldson and Pete Alonso come from the same cut of corniness and bad trash talking. So
yeah. Not cool.
At least Pete Alonso did it while they were up, but he definitely was not talking much after that. But that's definitely sad that he got injured. As much as I don't really like Pete Alonso and I give him a slight pass.
Yeah, you don't want to.
Former Gator. I don't want to see him get injured.
You don't want to. Yeah, and hopefully it's not broken and he can be back in. Baseball's better with Pete Alonso. Blah blah blah. Okay.
So
all right. So all that to say that the Braves are number 4, right? Yeah.
Yes, and the Braves are now the leading NL team by record by a half game over the Arizona Diamondbacks. So that's why they jumped back up. Another team that's jumped up is the Houston Astros. They're the highest they've been since the preseason ranking when they were number 1 to start preseason. They've not been really that since the start, just because of the Altuve injury. He's been back and playing well. Their pitching staff is starting to figure out how to be a pitching staff without Justin Verlander.
I feel like I see Yordan Alvarez and highlights all the time again. And
Yordan Alvarez is definitely back up there. They're definitely much below still, like hitting wise, that they've been over the past few years. I mean, they've typically had offenses where their average starting 9 is above 100 RC. Is that the runs created one? Whatever the
I think so.
Yeah, whatever one of the stats is to show how efficient they are at each batter scoring runs. They are typically above average as an entire lineup. This year they are as an entire lineup below that, like just below that. But they're still the Astros. They've got, as much as I hate the Astros and don't like, what they did in 2017, they are managed really well. Baker is a really good coach. They when they're not banging on trash cans anymore, they are still a team that knows how to win.
Yeah, I mean, they're always
games, so.
They're always a threat, and too bad for them that they decided to cheat. So you don't know how big of a threat they are. I mean, they're a threat. I shouldn't say that, but anyway.
So moving on from Houston, they move up, like I said, as well, 3 spots. 2-3 days ago, we definitely had a change in the top 2, but unfortunately for the Texas Rangers, they lose Jason deGrom for the season, at least just this season. I mean,
he's has to get Tommy John surgery for the second time. I mean, you hope it doesn't end his career.
Yeah. It's the second time. I think the first time was in 2010, and then what did I think I sent you 2016. He had a nerve damage, which is in a spot similar, but it was not the UCL tendon. It was like a nerve that needed to be surgery done on that, and that was 2016. Oddly enough, I'm still confused by the contract, but I guess the Texas Rangers will now owe Jason. Wow, that somehow
DeGrom.
went to Jason Dominguez there. Jacob deGrom, an extra year of contract because of this injury, assuming he misses 140 games of
I have
now. Of course, that means that he would miss part of next season, so he may not get to that 140 games because that would be a full season missed. But if he misses, if he's not back until this time next year, they will have to pay him another year.
What a weird, good for DeGrom and his agent for getting that into his contract, because what a weird thing for Texas to offer him. You would absolutely think it would be the other way around.
Yeah, that if he got injured, we won't be paying.
You're an injury-prone player. You're amazing, so we're ready. We're willing to, roll the dice on you, because when you're good, you're amazing.
My guess is that the Mets or another team was willing to pay him money, but not give him an extra injury insurance, and so the Rangers
insurance?
are like,
yeah.
Basically, that's what it is. That, they're basically paying him, giving him workers' comp is the way I look at it.
I mean that is time. What it. Yeah.
But overall, absolutely sucks for Jason deGrom. Sucks for the Rangers, who have had a really good season so far. They definitely still have the best hitting offensive lineup in the game. But
and to be fair for them, I mean, deGrom's been out for. deGrom's been out though since for a few weeks, and sometime in April, right? With because he left with some or am I thinking of a previous time that he left? Because I remember he left with wrist fatigue or something.
He had some type of soreness that I know he had left. Yeah, so I'm not sure exactly the date or time. So
he has been out at least for a few weeks, and Texas has been doing right. So I mean, so at least that for the Rangers is all and hopefully it doesn't affect. Well, hopefully from a Yankees perspective, I don't care, but I hope it doesn't. From a baseball perspective, I hope it doesn't affect their season and they continue to be hot. But
I mean, from an offensive standpoint, I think they have some of the best numbers in the league.
I think I saw they have over. Yeah, maybe we said this last time, but 8 of their players have an OPS over 1,000 or something, or something crazy that is just what? There's just no resting in their lineups. Yeah.
But I think Texas and Tampa play this weekend, so that'll be very interesting for them.
They play.
And what was that?
And they played today.
Oh, I think they were playing on Sunday, and that's why is it a 4-game series?
Maybe I'm sorry. Maybe they were off today. I should have checked that. Maybe because I'm looking at the current standings, and it says their last game was a loss, the Rangers, and that their next game is June 9th versus Tampa. But they might not have played today.
That's tomorrow.
And
Okay, yeah. So because I know that the Yankees and Red Sox are going to be on ESPN baseball tonight, and people are upset because they think it should be Tampa versus the Rangers, which I don't blame them.
That stuff is set. I don't blame them either, but that shit's set before the season starts. So,
some of it. But I'm sure usually, that the Red Sox Yankees.
Yeah, it was usually the ESPN stuff happens, and then maybe later in the season they redo it or something. But I remember seeing that.
Help is that the Red Sox and Yankees play back-to-back weeks, and they're Sunday night baseball back-to-back weeks with bigger games around.
I don't like that as just I don't like listening to the ESPN broadcast, so I'd rather hear the
I have
broadcast.
Seen Yankee fans upset too because they're you don't get to watch it
damn
it.
Yes, no. I mean, the only good thing is you get to hear Coney, but anyway. I understand people being upset. The Rangers did play yesterday and lost to the Cardinals, so sorry.
So, and that's what dropped them down because the Rays have been winning on a win streak. I had them on Monday morning. I had just kind of did an update for myself just to see how things were going. I did an update for myself, and I had Texas as number 1 because the Rays have been kind of,
they were, and they're still they're 5-5 or 6-4 in their last 10, right?
Yeah, I think it might be better now, but
maybe better now. I think at one point I looked this week. It was
the 6-4, 5-5 run for a while, and I think they won a few games in a row. Texas splits this week 1-1 since I did it on Monday. So Tuesday they won, Wednesday they lost, and that was enough for me to bump Tampa back to number 1. I mean, I've been trying to change our number 1 team for a while, but the Rays have been.
Yeah, my bad. Tampa's on a 6-game winning streak, and they are 7-3 in their last 10. Not mediocre.
Bad. So no worries. Yeah, the Tampa has won 6 straight games. I thought they had been on a streak, and so it's you can't. You can't drop them down when they're on a 6-game winning streak. So I'm sure at some point Tampa will not stay number one all season. It's just the way things work,
Well, and the East is difficult, and Tampa has one of the most difficult schedules, or at least a top 5 most difficult schedule to the end of the season. So,
right.
I mean, you have the most potential and the East is tough. So
yeah, and like I said, they play Texas starting tomorrow. Again, I mean Texas hasn't had deGrom for a while, but their pitching is not as strong as we would have expected at the beginning of the season, but that lineup has been very good for Texas. But the Rays lineup has been pretty good too. Their pitching is really good. They definitely know how to play the game to their strengths very well. So I don't expect it to be a walkover for either team. I think it's going to be a fun one. I think that's why people are disappointed not to be having that game on ESPN.
It totally should be the national game that's played for everyone to watch. Like,
especially because we can't watch those games.
Yeah, we would have to. Yeah, you have to have cable to be able to watch Tampa.
Yeah. So
which I did break down and get, but. So.
But
at least for this month, considering how many there's 2 games on ESPN, and then
right.
That was the decision.
So
maybe they'll get to watch the Texas Rangers game, Texas Rangers Tampa game.
The Rays stay number 1, Rangers stay number 2. So the only 5 teams this week that have changed, that did not change, were the Rays, Rangers, Yankees, and then the bottom 2 teams, Royals and the Athletics. And like I said, I think there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 teams that have changed more than 3 spots, 3 or more spots up or down. In the
that is a lot of movement. Yeah.
So, we had talked last week that there wasn't a lot of movement. We thought that with matchups there would be some movement, and there was definitely a lot of movement this week. So, it's always fun when we get to have new teams, new orders of things. And again, with Texas and the Rangers playing this week, I feel like there's going to be more movement there.
Nice shake up. Yeah.
The Yankees, we'll see what happens with them.
Hopefully they don't drop out of the top 10.
Yeah. But definitely some exciting baseball. It's always exciting too. Like, my thing is no one really likes things being stagnant, things like staying the same. So seeing teams like Arizona leading the NL West is fun because early season we expected the team to be fighting with the Dodgers was going to be the Padres, and the Padres were one of the teams to also drop some spots too. They're now to 21.
The lack of leadership in the Padres organization is clear, especially when they're asking Soto after the game about the offensive skid that this power lineup has, and he's like, "Don't ask me. That I'm not the person to ask about that."
Which is
what do you mean you're not the person to ask about that?
Yeah. And I get that there's other people in that lineup who are struggling.
Absolutely.
Obviously Machado's having a tough time, and people expect
and he
Machado
probably
to
should
be that leader.
Yeah.
But Soto is a leader in the sense that
isn't Machado injured, or did Machado come back?
I'm not 100% sure.
He was injured at some point, so maybe maybe he still is, maybe he's back. But like you said, Soto is a star.
Soto's
player.
Absolutely a star. Whether
they
Machado
gave away all of their their farm system to get Machado
for him. Yeah.
So you should have some kind of leadership. If it's not like I'm the leader, captain of this clubhouse, because he's still young, okay.
Right.
But some sort of accountability and leadership. And I know people want him on the Yankees, and I will just say that shit is not. That would not fly. I mean, I'm sure Aaron Judge, if he was somehow, they end up fantasy never happening, but ended up on the Yankees. Aaron Judge would nip that in the butt in the minute, but that kind of shit doesn't fly with the Yankees, because it's no, we're all in this together.
It's
you don't
one of the main reasons they didn't go after Machado in 2018.
Yeah, they didn't like his attitude.
The only reason they didn't go after Harper was because they just got Stanton and they didn't need another outfielder, which I get at the time. But at the same time, it's in hindsight, it's oh, that was stupid. to not even call it. But we don't need to go over that again. But the reason they didn't go after Machado is, I don't know if you remember, I think when he was playing with the Dodgers, he had that horrible strike 3 to end the game.
Right, yeah.
And he constantly was not running out plays. And we already had a guy like that in Gary Sanchez, so why would we bring in Manny Machado?
Need another one.
So when people get mad that Manny Machado wasn't signed by the Yankees back in 2018, I was like, let's not have too much hindsight bias here. Manny Machado was a immature, unhustling. You
don't need that in the Yankee clubhouse.
Superstar.
Yeah.
He seemed to figure out last year, but whether or not he's injured this year, he's not been the same, at least offensive production player. And
before he got injured, he definitely was not. And if he's back, I haven't heard anything good. So, yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, at the very least, when it comes to Soto, you're not expecting him necessarily to be Judge, but with how he presents
you'd expect
himself.
Him to step up a little
bit.
But
you got a guy like Stanton who's not necessarily a captain or a viewed leader, just a guy who can hit a lot of home runs, and obviously people will look up to him because of his experience. But he's a guy, if he's not hitting particularly well, even if it's not 100% his fault, he's like, I got to be better. I'm here.
He's one of the most accountable players I've ever seen. He's absolutely accountable.
And he's like, I can't be injured. I can't, So anyway, that is definitely the biggest issue with the Padres is that they just don't have that veteran leadership. I think Tatis is a fun player, but he doesn't really take a leadership role. He likes to dance in the outfield, which I'm not trying to sound like an old person yelling. I like seeing him do that. I wish the Yankees had more players that would have fun and have some personality, but unfortunately the Yankees organization doesn't like personality all that much. But I will say when we had Nick Swisher and we had some personality within the locker room, we won a World Series. So
but they need some leadership to get them steering in the right direction. One more thing, I don't know if you saw, because it happened today, that who was it? Twins pitcher. I don't remember who it was, but got not ejected. Sorry, I was about to say that. He had a sticky hand issue and was allowed to go wash his hands. And I just want to remind everyone that Rocco Baldelli had a big problem with this when it was Herman getting allowed to wash his hands. Just saying.
Well, everybody's a little bit biased to their own. They're like,
they are, but he had if he didn't go into such a stand on his soapbox and have all this integrity, kind of it's about the integrity of the game kind of thing. It's like, if he hadn't done that, I totally go argue it on the field. That I don't have a problem with that, really. Get ejected. Okay, got it. But after the game, I think he went on, he was like, I'm not going to get into it too much, but ends up going on a 5-minute rant about how it's unfair. Yeah. So that's my only no.
I doubt that he said it's unfair this time around.
Right. And also, that's a good question. I don't know. Let me see.
Because if they lost today, they'll be leading their division with a losing record.
What I saw, yes, actually they did. Yes, they are 31-32, leading their division with a losing record. The guy that, and I had it up before we started, but I clicked away from it. So the guy that was allowed to wash his hands, he was throwing a perfect game before he washed his hands. He comes out and gave up the game-winning hits. He lost it right after that. So Herman, was throwing a no-hitter, I think, and then when he washed his hands, wasn't anymore. He still pitched very well and kept the lead and the win and all of that in that game. So I'm just that's all.
Well, the Twins. Last thing I'll say, just now that we're talking about the Twins. Falling to a below 500 record. As much as I'm not a big Blue Jays fan, the fact that the Blue Jays are sitting at 35-28, I don't know what they did today, but they're sitting at least 6 games above 500. they are outside of the wild card. Like if the season ended today, they would not be in the playoffs, and the losing record Twins would be.
Yep.
Now, obviously,
and
that's
they
how
would
baseball.
That's how it works. But they would also not have to play
have to play
the two teams
they would have
in
to
the.
play the.
Well, you're right. They would have to play the first series because it'd be the two wild card teams, and then the top wild card team versus the worst division.
Yeah, it'd
winner,
be the first two. Now it's the first two teams get a bye.
Right, like the two best teams get a bye, but the third best division winner, or like the worst division lead has to play that first. Okay,
yeah, and they would play the worst of the wild card teams.
Okay.
So if it ended now, the Brewers would face the Yankees.
The Brewers. The Brewers.
Sorry, not the Brewers. I said that. The Twins would face the Yankees.
Okay.
In the first round, if it ended today, because I believe that the Yankees would still be below the Orioles.
Yes, they definitely
and
are. They're 2.5
Astros. So the Astros, I believe the Orioles are the number one wild card team, unless it's changed today.
And Astros
number 2, Yankees number 3.
Yeah.
So I think if it ended today, the Yankees would face.
All right.
Torres hit a home run.
Oh, hey, good job, Glaber. All right, that sounds like a good place to end the podcast. End it on a high note.
Yes.
Thanks for listening to our non-Yankees podcast that has a bit of Yankees sprinkled in there.
It's always going to, right?
Yeah, and we'll have another one out in about a week. And Ryan can tell you where you can follow us in the meantime.
Yeah, follow us on Twitter and on Instagram at Damn Yanks _pod, and then on Facebook at Damn Yanks pod. Follow us on Spotify or on YouTube, whichever you watch us on. Subscribe, do all the things that the thing tells you to do, so that you can stay updated with all of our podcasts. We do about 2 a week now. Now that it's summer and we have a little bit more availability, we're going to be doing some smaller pods coming up where we get to kind of talk more about specific
baseball stuff,
baseball
like superstitions,
family
history of baseball.
Like this one, where we're just going to eke by just under an hour.
Yeah, under an hour. We did it. All right, we should do it. We should leave now, so it's under an hour. Okay.
So thank you guys, and we'll see you next week for the Yankees recap.
Yeah. See ya.
See ya.